So similar to Molly Barker, this next young woman, have you ever met someone who just exudes light and just makes you feel empowered and loved? Well, this young woman, I call that kind of energy the soul of a queen. And it's funny and it's ironic because this young woman is the reigning Miss New Jersey and second woman of color to secure the title. This main stage speaker is also a graduating senior in the School of Social Work at Rutgers University, New Brunswick, with minors in women and gender studies, critical and comparative race, and ethnic studies, and criminology. In 2010, this speaker founded the Arts Empowerment Project, an organization which offers free weekend and summer visual and performing arts workshops as a strategy to empower economically disadvantaged adolescents through artistic expression. And I've even seen her social networks where she's just dancing with all these young girls and everything, and it's just inspiring. Born with a physical disability, a victim of sexual assault, and a first-generation college student, she uses the various pieces of her story to dismantle the stereotypes that surround pageant competitors and motivate young people to use situations of adversity as a tool to share their stories. Let us welcome to the stage. Can I hear some round of applause real quick? Can I hear it? Can I hear it? Can I hear it? For Cierra Kaler Jones.
So a large part of my job as Miss New Jersey is sharing my story with people as a form of inspiration. And something that I've learned, not just in being Miss New Jersey, but in being a student leader here at Rutgers, is that being a leader is hard and it's scary because you have to be vulnerable. You put your heart out on the floor for people to take a piece of so that they also can see the leadership within themselves. All of us in this room have pieces of our stories that are not so beautiful. And as a quote-unquote beauty queen pageant girl, sharing pieces of my story that are not so beautiful is hard because people look at me and they want to see hope, they want to see inspiration, they want to see beauty, they want to see glamour. And sometimes that's not always the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share part of my story with you so that you get a better understanding of what it means to me to be Miss New Jersey. Why would I do something like walk on stage on national TV in a swimsuit and heels? What does that mean to me? And I'll share that with you now. When I was in elementary school, in an auditorium very much like the one you see there, a Miss New Jersey came to speak to us. And she was so beautiful and articulate and talented and wonderful and lovely. And I knew sitting in that crowd that one day I wanted to be just like her. But there was a catch. She was tall, she was skinny, she was blonde. Everything that I'm not. And I couldn't see myself in that same position. I couldn't see myself with a crown. I couldn't see myself with a sash and heels. I couldn't visualize it because my role model didn't look like me. Miss New Jersey 2009. Miss New Jersey 2010, Miss New Jersey 2011, Miss New Jersey 2012, Miss New Jersey 2013, and me. During my competition experience, all of the odds were against me. People would say to me, "You will never be Miss New Jersey. New Jersey will never crown a black girl. You need to change your hair. You need to lose weight. You need to do this, and you need to do that." And at first I believed them. At first I thought that I could never be Miss New Jersey. I thought that I would have to dye my hair blonde or move to a different state. I thought that I couldn't feel comfortable in my skin and share that with people. Again, here on the night that I was crowned, all of the Miss New Jerseys, none of them looking like me. All very great women, none of them looking like me. So when I was 17 and a senior in high school, I thought about how I could change the way that people view pageant competitors. I thought about how could I take my talents, my strengths, and turn it into something that could touch people. So at 17 and a senior in high school, I competed in my first local pageant. I told my mom 2 weeks before the pageant that I wanted to compete. She told me I was crazy, and then I won. It took me not, she still thinks I'm crazy. It took me not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 times to win. And in those years, even my own family members said to me, why do you continue to compete? What is it about competing? You didn't win the first time, or the second, or the third. What makes you think that you're gonna win on the 4th try? And in those 3 years that I had competed, and I stood in the back, and I continued to clap for other girls as they walked the runway, and they announced that they were going to compete at Miss America. Those were the years where people told me that I had to change the way that I walked, the way that I talked, the way that I moved. And they told me, don't be so candid, don't be so honest with your background. As you heard from my bio, I'm a first-generation college student. I was a victim of sexual assault. I was born with a physical disability. But why does that matter? Why does any of that matter? What can I do to take those pieces of me that aren't so beautiful and share them with people so they know that those pieces of themselves that are not so beautiful can inspire others? You can't touch somebody who's perfect. You can't touch somebody who looks like a Barbie. But the reason why I competed those 4 years is because people told me that I would never win. And I said to them, well, why not? And again, they told me all of the things that I needed to change. And I said to them, you know what? It doesn't matter what's on my head. It matters what's inside of it. And so that is why I won on June 14th, 2014. I was crowned the 2nd woman of color to ever win the title of Miss New Jersey. And if you think about the math, the Miss America pageant has been around since the 1920s, and African Americans weren't allowed to compete until 1970. The last African American Miss New Jersey was Suzette Charles in 1984, and she went on to become Miss America. So the reason why I continued to compete all these years is not because I got a chance to compete on national television at Miss America. I came to the conclusion, of course, that I will never be able to be Miss America. But my job as Miss New Jersey, to have moments like these, where I go into schools and little girls grab onto my leg and they look up at me and they say, Miss New Jersey, I want to be just like you. Miss New Jersey, I have hair just like you. Miss New Jersey, you are young and you're cool and you're different. I want to be just like you. A lot of times as leaders, we're put in positions where we're put on a pedestal. As Miss New Jersey, people are afraid to touch me. People are afraid to take a picture with me and put their arm around me. And I'm sitting here ripping my crown off, rolling around on the ground with kindergartners. Because I want to be relatable, because I want to be tangible. I want people to know that they can touch me. Oftentimes as young people, we have role models that are celebrities. We see them on TV, we see them in magazines, but we can't touch them. When I walk into a school and there's a crowd of children and they see the crown, they see the sash, they can touch me, they can get my autograph. And I wanted that because people told me that I would never be in this position, that I would never have this opportunity because I didn't look a certain way, because I didn't fit a certain mold, because I wasn't part of a certain social construction. As leaders, people will try to put you in a box, and you have to break through that box. Because if you don't realize how many young people are looking at you, wishing that they could be you, thinking that you're cool, thinking that you're pretty, thinking that you're talented and wonderful. You don't know whose life you're touching when you walk into a room. I am no different than any of you sitting in this room. I'm an ordinary student, and what I always tell the kids when I go to the elementary schools is that I still have to do homework too. But that makes me no different than you. And one of my favorite movies is Freedom Writers, and my favorite part is when the woman says, we're all ordinary people, and even ordinary people have the opportunity, have the chance to turn on a light bulb in a dark room. As Miss New Jersey, I get to travel all across the state, and I get to have experiences like this, where I talk to young girls and they sit in a circle and they stare at me. And I will never forget this certain time where a young girl raised her hand and she said, Miss New Jersey has been coming to our school every year since I've been in elementary school. None of them look like you, and I'm so glad that you're here because you make me feel like I could be Miss New Jersey too. So my message to you all is never let anybody tell you that you can't do something because they're crazy. People will say mean things. My favorite, my picture was in the Star Ledger, and somebody commented on the bottom and they said, she needs to put a lid on that mop. They must be old because I've never heard that one. My second favorite, I've seen better looking people walking down the street riding the bus. People will say hurtful things. But you know why? It's because they've already placed limits on themselves. And so what they want to do is place limits on you so that you can't go that extra step, so that you can't go that extra mile. But you can. And it's not just because you can. It's not just because you will. But it's because you have to. At the end of the day, people will try to change things about you. But when you go to sleep at night, the only thing that you have to look to is yourself. You can go to sleep with your thoughts, with your decisions, with your opportunities and your experiences. And they can either be a soft pillow or they can keep you up at night. So you have to make that decision for yourself. You have to be the one to say, why not me? And why not now? You have to be the one to be that role model, that mentor, and make that difference. Use the pieces of yourself that are not so beautiful. Use the pieces of yourself that are hard to talk about. Open your heart. Leave it on the ground. And let people take bits and pieces of your heart, of your experiences, of your dedication, and let them take that piece so that they can be leaders too. Thank you.